Never holding back your love. This week is Alive's last class series called Dreams and Desires. That is the theme. So a lot has been coming up this week for me as I've been writing a lot and just kind of being a little bit more internal and thinking about my dreams and desires and also taking the pressure off. So that has been a big lesson for me this week. Um, I might have to plug my computer in like 2 minutes. But I would love to invite you to this talk with me. This could be called a tea talk, a cocoon tea talk. So feel free to grab your journal, a glass of water or tea, and I'm going to plug my computer in. And then we'll dive in. Alrighty then. Computer's plugged in. Let's get flowing. Okay. So, never hold back your love. Why did I come up with this theme? Um, I have been reflecting on some past moments in relationship and partners, and I caught a pattern of mine, or maybe a subtle pattern, but maybe you can relate. So the pattern of like admiring and really liking somebody, and then wanting their love and attention and care, but then holding back on your own love, attention, and care for them. Because maybe you're not sure. So it depends on the stage of relationship, right? But sometimes we don't do things because they don't feel comfortable, right? Or maybe it's not the right time to do something. But I feel like when we get in our heads about what we're giving and we start thinking, oh, they're doing this, so that means this, or they're not loving me enough, so that means this. I don't feel loved and cared for because your definition of being loved and cared for could be very different than their definition of love and care. So one of the things I said to someone recently, I said to someone recently was, I brought this up, it was about love languages and the way that people like to be loved. So I remember watching a video, maybe it was on YouTube or Instagram, and the couple, so it was mostly the guy talking, and I think the woman was interviewed after, but the guy said that, you know, the way that his partner likes to be loved is to be showered with gifts and surprises. So instead of feeling like, oh, why does she have to be like that? Why does she have to feel the need to have something to feel love? Why does she have to be spoiled? That is her love language. So when she receives gifts and surprises that are monetarily based, she feels a sense of love and care, right? So that's her love language. So for you, what are your love languages? And we don't have to get too wrapped up in the definition and be so stuck on the rigidity of the terms because there's so many ways to love and there's so many ways to be loved. So the 5 love languages, I'm just gonna go off of what I remember them to be. Affirmations, like sharing with someone, like, you're so beautiful. I really like the way you do this. I admire this about you. Like really talking somebody up, but in a real way, right? So someone will feel loved if they're told these things, right? Gifts as a means of a love language, buying something, right? It could be a gift, it could be a dinner, it could be a surprise, something like tangible, right? So gifts, words of admiration, uh, affection. So that one is touch. When you are holding hands, caressing the neck, kissing on the cheek, kissing on the lips. Some people get turned off by this. Sometimes it's called PDF, public display, PDA, PDA, public displays of affection. Sometimes that is someone's love language. Definitely my love language. And I feel like, yeah, I would love to hear from you what your love languages are, because it can be plural, right? And it can also be like the stage of your life or the mood that you're in. You might desire a different love language for you. So public displays of affection, like when you're out to eat, holding hands, maybe sitting on each other's lap, just very like involved, like on top of each other, right? And I feel like sometimes people can not want to do this because they fear what people think around them. And I feel like it's a conversation to have with your partner around it, because it's important to know how the other person feels about a love language or about a certain situation, so that at least you guys can be on the same page. Because it's like maybe one partner does not like to hold hands or show affection in person, like show affection in public, but they may show you more affection behind closed doors, and you can take that personally. Like, why does he want to hold my hand in public? Does he love me? Does she love me? And I think when you can have that conversation of like, how do you feel about this? How do you feel when I do this? And it opens up the doors to understand each other more, right? So that one is public. That one's touch, love language of touch. And I want to sit and think of the other ones. If you know them, you can let me know about them as well. Because there's actually a book called The Five Love Languages. I'm trying to think of the other ones. I'm not sure. Anyways, so I gave you three. If you know more, let me know. But anyways, so why I'm bringing this up is because I think it's so important in relationship and friendships what people value. And recently, I received two phone calls from old friends, and they were like apologies around like the way that they felt and the way that they acted and why they did what they did. And it was so interesting too because it happened back to back. Like one happened on one day and then the next happened on the other day. And it was like from the same 6 months ago, right? And I think about this situation because I recognize that we can assume so many things about somebody else based off of their actions, and we can have expectations about who this person is, what they can give you, how they're acting, and what it actually means. And same in relationship. So the solution to any confusion in a friendship or relationship is to communicate, is to talk about how you feel and what's coming up for you. And I think the initial, it's like when you feel uncomfortable or vulnerable, the initial feelings that you're having are I don't want to say most likely, but they can be a trigger to like a past situation or a past moment. And it's like you're reliving it right in that moment. And your reactions may not be very logical or balanced, if you will. And you can snap, you can be intense. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's the moment that shit is hitting the fan. And then the storm, and then there will be a resolve after, and then it's like clarity of like what was actually happening. And I think a big lesson that I'm seeing is the correlation. Maybe I don't want to use the word correlation, but the expectations of who someone is and what they can give you and what they can offer, and then same on your end, like what you're expecting from somebody. But I think the most important thing we can do for ourselves is to understand us, is to understand ourselves and to take care of our needs. So then when we are in friendship dynamics or relational dynamics, we can advocate for ourselves, we can speak up for ourselves and share with the other person, this is how I am, this is what makes me feel safe, this is what makes me feel comfortable. And it's not a like, you made me feel this way and you're wrong. It's like, no, this is who I am and this is what I need. So when we can understand that and define what it is we need for ourselves first, then we don't have to get caught up in this limbo of who did what wrong and who's the victim, right? We take responsibility for our lives, we advocate for ourselves, we use our voice, right? I'm gonna open the door for air. So, knowing yourself is going to help you when you get into a new partnership or even when you're in a partnership and it's been a long time. Maybe you lost yourself, maybe you've been in the same routine and it's getting monotonous and you want to explore more sides of yourself or even more sides of the relationship, right? So it is super important that we understand ourselves, right? So because I'm using this new platform to stream, I really don't know who I'm talking to and who is logging on, right? Hello. Okay. So my phone is actually not working right now. And that's why I'm streaming on my computer. And I don't think I've ever live streamed on Instagram, the platform, like Instagram.com. But I also have Facebook, which is on the side going. And then I also just did the YouTube as well. But the YouTube should be connected to this Instagram thing. But this is an experiment. So I hope all these words get recorded. Because, yeah, it's just a lot coming up for me lately, and I feel like I really want to share and offer you the tip and the tip of not holding back on your love. And that's the whole conversation here today. So why do we hold back on our love? I think it's vulnerable to share. It can be vulnerable to share our love and affection for another if it's not received, or if you're not like knowing that they want it, or knowing that it is valued, if you will. But this is the part of relationship where you get to explore what each other's needs are and what love languages you have, right? So I think of sharing my love, and my love is big, loud, intense, can be overwhelming for some, if you will. And other, depending on the person that is receiving it, can also really love it and light them up too. So in any friendship or relationship, I want to make sure, or we want to make sure that we are being ourselves. And of course, if someone doesn't want to kiss you or like be super lovey-dovey or like we were talking about public displays of affection, like it's really good for you to know that. So at least you can like take a step back, understand that this is not their love language and you don't have to take it personally, right? But maybe it's not their love language, but they're open to experiencing your love for them because it's not something that they're used to. So for instance, if they grew up and their parents didn't really give them too much love and affection, like hugs and kisses and I love yous, they may not know how to give that back or share that because it's not something that they really are used to, right? And it could also be the opposite, like they never received that, so now they want to give that even more. Just depends, right? And so when we come into relationship, and I'm going to say relationship here, but you can also think of it as friendship too, because we come together and we have our own set of beliefs, our own ways of thinking, and then our own traumas and our own relationships with the masculine and the feminine and the mother line and the father line, which is like our family, right? So because of this, we're going to bring a lot of baggage to the table, no matter what, right? And some of us have a lot more baggage than others. And it depends on if you're willing to sift through the baggage in a relationship. Because we all have it. And it depends on, like, obviously the time of your life you're in. Like, do you want a relationship? Are you committed to the baggage that can come with it, right? So, holding back on your love. I want to share a story, or at least a past experience that I've had, where one of my partners, ex-partners, did not love the level of affection that I gave him. It was not his love language. It overwhelmed him, and it hurt my feelings that he was not able to receive that type of love that I wanted to share. So I felt like because of that, and I didn't understand it at the time. Like I didn't understand that like this is just not the way he wants to be loved, or just like take it down a few notches, Jess, right? And I took it so personal that like I felt like I had this, oh, should I do this? Should I not? Is he going to be mad at me? And, there was a lot of things going on in that relationship where the communication and the understanding of like where we're at and how we feel. And this was a long relationship too. So there was a lot of wounding in it and unresolved issues that seemed to kind of grow and expand. And when we have problems that are not resolved or just brushed under the rug, they build up, right? They build up, they explode, and then we're in for a problem. Because now it's like, it's not just what happened in that moment, it's a lot of previous moments. So then you have to sift through it all, work through it all, and come to like understanding like, okay, what actually happened here, right? Why is this happening? So because of this past experience for me in relationship, I think there's this subtle part of me that is like, oh, I don't want to be annoying. I don't want to be too much. I don't want them to think I'm needy. And because I have these ideas in my head, I'm holding back, right? I'm holding back on my love. I'm waiting for the other person to come to me. And when they're not coming to me in the way I want them to, I feel unloved, right? Meanwhile, the other person might feel like they think I like my space. They think I want no kisses or not to hold hands, like, and that's why it's so important to have these conversations with your partner. How do you like to be loved? What's your communication style? Do you like to talk it out right away, or do you need like 5 days to process? And I will say, men and women are very different. I was listening to a podcast, which I need to read the book, but this woman specializes in relationships, mostly heterosexual relationships, from what I'm understanding. So just explaining the differences biologically between a man and a woman. And I think I got into like 30 to 45 minutes of the podcast, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is gold. Um, I'm going to go on a little tangent, but pretty much men take a longer time to process than women, and they need like silence and time for themselves to like understand what the fudge is happening. Probably because like the connection to their emotions are a little bit different than women. Women are naturally more connected to their emotions because of the maternal nurturing aspect that, as mothers, we need to have, right? So men take a little bit longer to process. Some men have a lot to say, some men do not. For the men that do not have a lot to say, give them time and space to speak and try not to interrupt them. I'm so fucking guilty. I'm the queen of interrupting. I'm sorry for everyone I've ever dated and anyone I ever go out to dinner with or have tea with. There's a few people in my life, like my dad and one of my good friends, that are talkers, and I'm a talker too. But when I'm with them, I'm silent. I just receive all their talking, and I will say that those are the moments that I'm quiet. And I really give them that time to vent to me, because it's like sometimes I just need that for myself with other people. And when I'm with them, I give them that grace and space to just let it out and just like fully listen to. And that's something that I value, is like the presence, the attention, and the focus in conversations. Like, can you actually hear what I'm saying? Do you even care what I'm saying? Because when I feel like someone doesn't care what I'm speaking, I automatically feel like I'm pissed. I get take it personal, and I feel like unloved. And I think like something that I've learned about this is that it's important to honor the given moment when you start a conversation with someone. It's like as soon as you walk into the house and you just start ranting with your partner, like your partner might be in the middle of something. Or your mom, like I do this with my mom. I come home and I haven't seen her forever, and I'm just like, and she's just like looking at me, like she doesn't want to say shut up, but she's in the middle of like 20 things, right? And then I take it personally that she's not listening, but you can't expect someone to just drop everything and listen to you unless you actually ask for that permission, right? Like, hey, I really need to have this conversation. Like, do you have the space and capacity for it, right? So I want to wrap this up in a minute because I don't want to talk too much. But let's see. Okay. Have I only been talking for 15 minutes? Let's see. I got too many tabs open right now. I'm so confused. Okay, I've been talking for like 25 minutes. Yeah, I have no voice, so I literally need to stop it. Okay, so don't hold back on your love unless your partner specifically tells you, I don't like to be loved like that. And let's stop doing the waiting around game. I'm gonna wait until he texts me. I'm gonna wait till he comes to me. Like, I think the masculine and feminine dynamics where it's like the feminine is here and she's receptive and she's like, I don't want to say waiting because I just hate that. I don't know. I get this like weird thing about waiting on stuff. But it's like, you know, the feminine is the one to be penetrated, the one to come to, right? The masculine is more like direct, focused, like stern, if you will. The feminine, and you know, we can play with some of these words. Don't take these things so strict. But the feminine can also be this like, there's also like two aspects to each, right? Like the feminine can also be like a fierce feminine, like um, very, you know, devoted in her own passions and craft, right? And then there's like also the light, airy, feminine, playful, sensual, like um, and I feel like we need to let go of the rules of what the masculine and feminine should be doing. Like let go of the should and be yourself. First off, just be yourself. And also, I think being yourself is going to help you to settle into your dominant polarity or dominant pole. So I'm a woman, and I am, so because I'm a woman, I'm more my feminine. Well, me personally, I'm more my feminine. I don't want to say every woman is, but it depends on what I'm doing in a given day and what I'm working on. So it's like we have both those qualities, right? But my essence and my big picture of who I am as a woman is I'm feminine, right? So if I'm in partnership with another person, I want them to be themselves, one, and two, to be in their dominant, um, for some reason I'm coming up with the word polarity, dominant polarity, but dominant, I'm going to say yin or yang in this moment, but yeah, dominant feature, which would be the masculine. So when we let ourselves be who we are and we let our um, essence shine through, then there's going to be a balance, right, in the relationship. Because it's like I'm in my feminine, I am being a woman, like, and then the fact that I am being a woman and being myself, the man can be drawn to me, right? And I can be drawn to him because of his opposite pole, right? And so when we're in a reactionary type of situation and we're both kind of heated, right? There's a lot of fire from both ends. Like, what is going to like bring that fire down? Somebody has to surrender. And it doesn't necessarily have to be the man, right? Somebody has to surrender and soften. And that's kind of like a feminine aspect, right? Surrender and soften. So now this is more masculine, this is more feminine, and now we're on a similar level or playing terms, right? So if we have two people that are super heated, super angry, it's more of like now you have the same exact pole, right? So there's going to be that magnetic, like repulsion, right? And I think about it even when you're fighting with someone, like you're like, oh, I'm like so disgusted at you, or like depending on the fight, right, and what is being said. So you know, sometimes we want to fight, we want to get it out, we want to dish it out, and I know that I am like that. But I think when we can just be like, you know what, I'm not gonna be a fucking hero and try and win this fight. I'm gonna surrender and I'm gonna apologize because I know I did something wrong. Maybe in my tone, maybe in my actions, but I'm gonna surrender here and I'm gonna apologize, right? And as soon as somebody takes that moment of surrendering and softening, it's like a breath. Ah, we can breathe. And the other person now can soften too, or at least let the armor off. And now they're not so on defense. But I think it's like it's such a mature thing to do with your partner to be the first one to say sorry or the first one to simmer down because it changes the entire dynamic faster. And the thing is, of course, it can't be forced, right? It can't be forced, but I think there's a moment where you can at least try it, right? Where it's like, I give up on the bullshit. Like, life is too short to be angry about X, Y, and Z. Like, let's like resolve now, right? And if you have a problem with like communicating and staying in a situation, like I don't think it's wrong to leave situations if you don't feel like comfortable or safe. But if that's your go-to to run, how can you stay and talk and resolve? So this comes back to like our nervous system triggers and responses. Fight, arguing, flight, run away, change situations, change locations, appease, please, where you appease or fawn, it's called, where you immediately try to resolve drama, any drama or intensity by pleasing. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm going to do X, Y, and Z because you want me to. It's the people pleaser in us, right? And then we have freeze, where you literally do not say anything because like nothing is coming out. And I think of the situation where like people get ghosted, right? People get ghosted in relationships and friendships where like you're talking to your friend and they don't answer you. You know that there's something going on, you know that there's something off, and you try and talk about it and they don't answer you for months. That's considered ghosting. But I believe that during those times of ghosting that they were in a freeze response. They were like, I feel attacked, I feel hurt, I literally don't know what to do or say. I'm not gonna do anything. Right? So if you've ever gotten ghosted in any way, just know to not take it personally. Because most likely it's their them and their trauma getting triggered by something you did or said. And it can also be a beautiful pathway for them to go deeper into what is affecting them or triggering them. But that's all for today, y'all. Yeah, so I just want to say, if you want to give your partner a luscious kiss in public and you know that that is okay with them and they like probably accept it, like go for it. Like stop holding back, waiting for the other to do something, right? Go for it, and if you get like a little bit of a talk about it, right? But maybe your partner fucking wants that, right? So don't hold back on your love and communicate on what makes you feel loved. And yeah. Sending my love to you. I just want to share what is happening in my world in regards to the cocoon space online. I am designing something amazing. I'm not sharing it with you because I want it to be behind the scenes. I want to really be in my internal world, in my creative world while I make this. And we have the live class series, which is wrapping up this week, and it will be on sale for a limited time to access it as a course. You'll know when I get there. I want to teach in person in Astoria, Queens. So my focus is going to be behind the scenes work, teaching once a month in Astoria, Queens, maybe twice, but for now just once, starting in the fall/winter. And then just working. I'm working my regular dental hygiene job and just focusing on saving money. So that's where we are at in this world, where I'm at in this world. And the other thing I wanted to say is Diosa is going to be worked on in the winter. We are working on the website, which we've been working on for way too effing long. It needs to be done. Shout out to my website girl. We're both working full-time our day jobs while we work on things. So I want to close a lot of loops up this fall season, start fresh for the winter, and Diosa is coming back, and it's going to be fun because I'm going to be modeling, I'm going to be making jewelry, modeling the jewelry. My business partner Maria is in Barcelona, and she will be working on her stuff. We'll be doing the website. It's going to be beautiful. So that's what's happening in my world. I love you all so much. I'm so happy to be connected virtually. And don't be shy. Say hi to me in the DMs. Comment whatever you want. If you need anything from me, if you live in Staten Island, if you live in the city, let me know. I do healing sessions at my home, and I can always come to you as well. Healing sessions as in Reiki sessions and talk therapy, if you will, and a meditation kind of experience. So it really depends on who you are and what you're working through. But that's all, y'all. Love you. Ciao.